very pleased that you're on the show, and I have to ask you what the first thing, sort of music that you listened to that got you interested in music was when you were a child in Ireland?
The very first thing I remember being influenced by was Bob Dylan's album Slow Train Coming, and particularly the song called Gotta Serve Somebody. That was the first thing that made me really want to be a singer.
Now, on your new record, Fire on Babylon, it owes quite a lot to reggae. There's like quite a strong reggae influence. What attracts you to reggae? Are you a reggae fan?
Yeah, very much so. Bob Marley obviously would be a big influence of mine. Particularly, I like the Rasta element. I like the way they've observed for years before we ever did that the Catholic Church had basically been duping people for years and have misrepresented God quite severely, actually. I like the way, basically, the courage that the Rastas have had for years before even the Irish got to it in identifying the Catholic Church as being basically against God.
Okay, I want to talk about Ireland. Specifically, I want to talk about the famine, about the fact that there never really was one. There was no famine. See, Irish people were only allowed to eat potatoes. All of the other food, meat, fish, vegetables, were shipped out of the country under armed guard to England while the Irish people starved. And then, in the middle of all this, they gave us money not to teach our children Irish. And so we lost our history. And this is what I think is still hurting we. You see, we're like a child that's been battered, has to drive itself out of its head because it's frightened, still feels all the painful feelings. But they lose contact with the memory. And this leads to massive self-destruction, alcoholism, drug addiction, all desperate attempts at running. And in its worst form becomes actual killing. And if there ever is gonna be healing, there has to be remembering and then grieving so that there then can be forgiving. There has to be knowledge and understanding. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? An American Army regulation says you mustn't kill more than 10% of a nation because to do so causes permanent psychological damage. It's not permanent, but they didn't know that. Anyway, during the supposed famine, we lost a lot more than 10% of our nation through deaths on land or on ships of emigration. But what finally broke us is not starvation, no, it's use in the controlling of our education. Schools go on about Black 47, on and on about the terrible famine. But what they don't say is in truth, there really never was one. All the lonely people, what do they all come from?
That I can tell you in one word.
All the lonely people, what do they all belong? So let's take a look, shall we? The highest statistics of child abuse in the EEC, and we say we're a Christian country, but we've lost contact with our history. See, we used to worship God as a mother. We're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Look at all our old men in the pubs. Look at all our young people on drugs. We used to worship God as a mother. Now look at what we're doing to each other. We've even made